Hey everybody, it's Maisha Edmond, licensed cosmetologist in the state of New York, and I am also a World Trichology Society certified trichologist. And I just wanted to come and reintroduce myself. I want to talk about what is alopecia, but I also want to talk about like what is a trichologist, right? So I think that every time you guys see me, you see me going in about what you need to do and why you need to do it in what is this and what is that. But I really wanted to get into who I am as a trichologist, what that is, and what is alopecia. So first of all, what is alopecia? It's hair loss, right? And so there are so many different types of hair loss. There are types of hair loss that we see and we don't have a name for. And then there are types of hair loss that we see behind the chair often, and some of us still have yet to get a grip on what it is, what the name of it is, and the characteristics of it. So, like I said, alopecia is hair loss. It's a fancy way to say hair loss. So that being said, if you go to your doctor, your dermatologist, and they tell you you have alopecia, you want to ask them what kind. What kind of alopecia do I have? Because there's traction alopecia, and that's with your edges. There's androgenetic alopecia, and that's the hereditary type. There's CCCA, which is central centrifugal cicatricial alopecia, which is a scarring alopecia. There's also alopecia areata, and that's that patchy hair loss that is caused by stress and autoimmune disease and different things like that. You also have telogen effluvium, and that's when the hair sheds all over and you can see right through it. So there's so many different types of alopecia. Alopecia, I tell you what, is a pain in the butt, right? It is an issue that most women that I treat wish they did not have to face or to suffer with or deal with or even be a part of, right? So when you look at alopecia, you look at the fact that it is an emotional thing as well. Alopecia or hair loss, depending on what it is, the type of hair loss it is something that stems from so many different things, right? You can experience alopecia or hair loss when you don't have the proper diet. You can experience alopecia or hair loss when you are sick. You also can experience alopecia or hair loss when you are not eating properly, when you are not sleeping, when you are under stress. If you have a bacteria, if you have a fungus, if you have had a high fever, if you have surgery, if you've had anesthesia. I mean, alopecia is a lot, right? It is also something that a lot of times can be helped. Sometimes it cannot be cured, but there is so much information out there about alopecia, about the different types of alopecia. And it is something that you are absolutely going to be able to get answers for, even if the answer is um, that it can't be reversed. A lot of times it can be slowed down, it can be stopped, and then it can be reversed. So when you think about alopecia and you think about the issues and the problems that women are facing, they won't come in to get help for hair loss because number one, they feel like it's inevitable. So they say, all right, well, I'm getting older, and so that's just what it is. Or they'll say, well, my mother had hair loss and my grandmother had hair loss, so it was just going to happen any day. But what we have to understand, especially I feel like in the African American community, is that it's not something that you just get. Like it's not like you just get old, right? So when you look at alopecia, also it is something that that there are different remedies to, and another thing is that alopecia or hair loss is something that if you don't handle it sooner rather than later, it becomes worse, right? So there are some things that are self-correcting. If you have telogen effluvium, which is that excessive shedding, and it's due to maybe childbirth, so they would call it postpartum alopecia. It would definitely begin to correct itself after your hormones balance back out, and you've had the baby, and maybe you stop breastfeeding and different things like that. Hey, Letitia. And so those things will self-correct, right? But sometimes if you have a baby and you experience hair loss after having a baby, it will uncover other types of hair loss that you didn't know were there. So that hair loss will be sped up. And so, you know, hair is the barometer for the body, which means what? Hey, Gary, how are you? It means that if something is going on in your body, then more than likely we can see its effects in the hair. And so that's why hair has been a staple in forensics. It has been a staple when it comes to drug testing, mineral testing, and different things like that. And so when you're looking at alopecia and hair loss, it is something that, first of all, don't let it be that people are saying, oh, you just have alopecia. It just sounds fancy. And you just go on with it. Child, I got alopecia. That's it. You want to know what kind, because some things are reversible. Some things are very much treatable. Some things, if you don't wait too long, you are definitely going to have a better rate of growing your hair back. And that is a good thing. So me as a trichologist, right? I wanted to be a trichologist the first time I read about it in my Milady book. I wanted to be a trichologist because my name is Maisha Kiana, child. And so it was already a name that I deemed something where people would think I braid. And so although I can braid, I didn't want to be a braider. And there's nothing wrong with being a braider, right? But I didn't want to be a braider, right? I wanted to just do hair. And so, with that name, Maisha Kiana, it was like, girl, you do braids? And so when I saw trichology in my book, I was in beauty school, and it was something I've never heard of before. I raised my hand and asked my teacher, my instructor, Mr. David, I said, Mr. David, how do I become this? And he said, girl, don't worry about that. All you need to know how to do is close up a good weave. And after you close it up, you're going to have a lot of clients. So he started showing us how to close the weave with glue and with sewing, and that was just supposed to be it. But I could not shake the fact that I wanted to be a trichologist. And after I read it, I went around to anyone who would listen, and I said, I'm going to be a hair doctor. I'm going to be a trichologist. What's a trichologist? It's a hair doctor. I find out what's going on in your scalp. I find out what's going on with your hair, and I tell you, and I fix it. And it took me 10 years to find the program. And guess what? When I found that program and I was done with that program and I put my program together, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. I was confused. I had all of this knowledge and all of these notes and all of these books and all of these things, and I had no idea what to do with this stuff. All I knew was it costs more than getting your hair done, and if you use the right product, this is going to work. Well, after 5 years of doing trichology and really helping people and really building on what I know and how I do things, I understand that Maisha, the trichologist, is a need and not a want. And that was my endeavor from the beginning. I always wanted to be needed and not wanted in the beauty industry. Why? Because stylists, to be honest, we come dime a dozen. There are people that are licensed, and there are people that are unlicensed. But we work in our house and we work in the shop. We go on tour, or we be in the hotel room. We do all these different things. And so there was nothing for me that I wanted to do where I stood out quick enough, right? But then I started really looking into trichology and really, doing everything, learning and everything like that. And I found that I didn't want to just be somebody that was seen, but I really wanted to be effective. And so the trichologist is your bridge between your hairstylist and your dermatologist. We work closely with your doctors. We work closely with those dermatologists and nutritionists and people that you deem important for your health. We try to work very closely with them so that we can keep your hair on your head and keep you educated and cute, right? Cute. And so there have been a lot of instances where hairstylists have detected lupus because we have looked in the scalp and we have seen the hair, and because of the information that we have and that we have learned, we were able to pinpoint different issues. We have felt the hair as a stylist, felt that hair and felt that it was brittle and it was dry and it was more than a protein treatment or a moisture treatment needed. And so stylists, we have been operating in the realm of trichology from the time we left the school, right? But we just didn't know what to call it. We just didn't know what to do with the information. And so coming over to the trichology side, we really got to say, wow, I knew that, but I didn't know what that was called. I've seen that before, but I didn't know what to do with it. And so I just sent them to the dermatologist and they got some shots, or they just got some steroids, or they got some pills, or they brought this shampoo that dries out the client's hair, right? And so me as a trichologist, I really feel I'm really excited to be a trichologist because I feel like what I have to offer is very helpful. And so I wanted to just jump on and reintroduce myself. My name is Hove. Now, I am Maisha Edmond. I am a licensed cosmetologist. I am licensed. I am part of World Trichology Society. I go to conferences. I educate myself every day. I teach other trichologists, new trichologists. Hey, Lisa, how are you? I teach other stylists about trichology. So if they don't want to be a trichologist, but they want to be trichologically sound, which is something that I recommend, I also help them. And guess what? I've also started becoming your trichologist. So if you're a stylist and you're like, I don't have time to be learning all this stuff, guess what? I'm your trichologist. And so I work in conjunction with you to become your resident trichologist so that you can still operate in the salon and be able to give your clients more than just a really fly weave. And oh, thank you, ma'am. I washed it. Okay. I want to be able to give, I want you to be able to give your clients more than just a really fly weave, but I want you to give them these answers that they need. And so I'm super excited to just reintroduce myself and let you know who I am and what I do. And you'll be hearing a lot from me over the next week because I really want to break down the things that we see as a trichologist and really help you as a stylist, as a new trichologist, and as a client. All right. So remember, alopecia is nothing more than hair loss. So do not panic. We just have to figure out why you're losing your hair. And if you are a trichologist, I can't wait to see you in one of my classes, teach you about insurance, teach you about the systems that really help to run our business because there's a business behind the business of trichology. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great day and happy hair growing.